Hey there. Looks like we're diving into the world of ICT System Analysts today.
You've sent over some really interesting excerpts from RoleCatcher.
They cover a pretty wide range: career guidance, interview tips, even how to stand out to those AI recruiters.
Good stuff.
It seems like you're ready to get serious about this career path, and we are here to help you unearth those golden nuggets of insight.
Yeah, you've picked a good one to explore, that's for sure.
Oh,
I mean, everyone's talking about tech these days.
sure.
But this particular role, it's at the heart of it all, where business meets technology.
So it's not just about being a tech whiz, it's about understanding how that tech fits into the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's only becoming more important as businesses rely on technology more and more.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide, it's pretty upfront about what these analysts actually do.
Yeah. They don't sugarcoat it.
No, they don't. Analyzing systems, designing solutions, working with end users sounds like a lot to juggle.
It is.
What's the common thread, you think?
Translation. Think of them like the diplomats of the tech world, right?
Diplomats, interesting.
Because they've got to speak both languages fluently, business and tech.
I like that.
They need to grasp what users want, what their workflows look like, even their frustrations.
Right, because it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how people use that technology.
Precisely. But they've also got to be deep in the tech weeds, software, networks, data, the whole shebang.
And then they take all that complexity and
They turn it into solutions a business can actually use.
it's like they're building a bridge
Exactly.
between the tech folks and everyone else.
A bridge made of code and good communication, that's an ICT system analyst.
And it's not a static bridge either, right? It's constantly evolving.
Oh, absolutely.
The career stages section mentions a senior ICT system analyst evaluating and recommending technologies, talk about pressure.
Oh, for sure.
That kind of pressure, it reminds me of that part in industry trends about cloud-based solutions and data analytics taking center stage.
All connected. Imagine being that senior analyst.
You're not just keeping the lights on, are you?
No way. You're out there scouting, looking for the next game changer.
The tech that could completely transform how a company operates.
Exactly. And with cloud computing and data analytics becoming so central to business strategy,
The stakes are high.
their decisions have massive ripple effects.
It's like they're shaping the future,
In a way, they are.
one tech recommendation at a time.
And that brings us to the not-so-glamorous part.
Right, because all this responsibility, this constant change.
It can't be all sunshine and roses, can it?
Not exactly.
The career guide is pretty upfront about that high-stress, long hours.
It's true. It's demanding.
So how do you thrive in that kind of environment?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
So it's not just about surviving, it's about actually thriving in that environment. But with so many people vying for these roles,
Oh yeah, it's competitive.
how do you stand out from the crowd?
That's the thing, isn't it?
RoleCatcher seems to really hammer home the whole tailoring your resume thing using their AI tool.
Oh yeah, they're big on that.
Mhm.
And for good reason.
What makes it so important in this field specifically?
Think about it. You're basically what? Marketing yourself?
You're the product.
Exactly. But you're selling yourself as this ultimate problem solver.
I like that.
And those AI systems, they're like the gatekeepers.
You got to get past them first.
They're looking for very specific things, keywords, skills. It's all about precision.
So your resume's got to be like a bullseye.
That's it. Not just, some vague shot in the dark.
So you almost have to speak the AI's language.
Kinda, yeah. You got to know the lingo, know what it's looking for.
Does that mean soft skills don't matter as much anymore? With all this emphasis on the digital stuff?
That's a good question. I mean, tech is obviously important,
That's the whole point, right?
but don't underestimate those core skills.
The human element.
Exactly. The career guide actually emphasizes a few that seem super basic, but they're crucial.
Like what?
Reading comprehension, critical thinking, active listening.
Those seem pretty standard, don't they?
Sure. But in this role, you're constantly absorbing information technical stuff, and you have to actually understand it.
Makes sense of it.
Then you got to analyze it. What does it all mean? And then the big one, you have to communicate it clearly.
So it's not enough to just understand it yourself.
Nope. You have to explain it to tech folks and non-tech folks like
Yeah.
you're fluent in both.
It goes back to that bridge analogy.
Right. You're bridging that gap.
And speaking of specifics, I remember RoleCatcher mentioned certain certifications.
Yeah. Those are key.
They said those are really valuable. What were those again?
Let's see. CBAP, that's a big one.
What's that one for?
That's if you're leaning towards business analysis.
Yeah.
But then you've got PMP that's all about project management.
Makes sense. Project management skills would be huge in this field, I imagine.
Absolutely. Keeping things on track, managing stakeholders, it's essential.
What was that last one?
Oh, right. ITIL. That one's a deep dive into IT service management.
So it's like having different tools in your tool belt.
Exactly. You're showing potential employers that you've got this foundation of knowledge, like a stamp of approval.
From the tech gods. But let's zoom out a bit beyond the certifications and the hard skills.
Okay, yeah.
What about those other qualities, the things you can't really quantify?
The soft skills. Those are huge, too.
What separates a good ICT system analyst from a truly exceptional one? RoleCatcher mentioned a few things: continuous learning.
Lifelong learning is so key in tech, isn't it?
Definitely. What else?
Networking. And not just the digital kind, though that's important, too.
Right, like actually getting out there and meeting people.
Face-to-face,
Yep.
going to industry events, connecting with people on LinkedIn, even just grabbing coffee with someone already in the field
Building those relationships.
is invaluable. And then they also talked about something else showcasing your work, like building a portfolio.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's like, don't just tell me you can do it, show me.
Exactly. Imagine you can point to a website you built, a database you optimized, even just a simple screen you wrote to automate something.
It brings your skills to life.
It makes it real, you know?
Yeah.
And it sets you apart from those who just talk the talk.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly.
And speaking of showing, RoleCatcher itself seems like it could be a pretty handy tool for someone in this field.
Oh, totally. It's like having a personal career coach, in a way.
What makes you say that?
They've got all that stuff about skills analysis, interview prep. Did you see how many practice interview questions they have?
It was a ridiculous number.
120,000. Can you imagine prepping for an interview with that many potential questions?
It's both impressive and terrifying at the same time. But why such a big emphasis on interviewing?
Because at the end of the day, you still have to connect with an actual human being.
The algorithms can only take you so far.
Exactly. You've got to convey that passion, that genuine interest.
And demonstrate those communication skills we were talking about.
Exactly. Because that's what really seals the deal, that human connection.
It's like you're presenting yourself as the complete package, the dream ICT system analyst every company wishes they had.
You got it. But then there's the whole, rise of the machines thing.
The AI recruiters.
Exactly. Does acing that interview even matter anymore when a bot is the one filtering your application?
It's a valid question.
And thankfully, RoleCatcher tackles that head on.
They do.
Oh yeah, they acknowledge. Those systems can feel like a black box. You send your application into the void and hope for the best.
It can feel that way sometimes.
But they offer some solid advice on how to navigate those systems.
Like what kind of advice?
Well, it's a lot about understanding how they think. Keywords, remember. Those algorithms are looking for specific things in your resume and cover letter.
So it's not just about writing for a human audience anymore.
Right. You got to tailor your materials to appease the bots, too.
It's like there's a secret code to the whole hiring process.
In a way, yeah. You got to speak their language.
But even with the algorithms and the tech, it still comes back to human connection, doesn't it?
100%. RoleCatcher actually talks about that, too.
They do.
Yeah. They emphasize the importance of networking, and not just the online kind. Attending industry events, connecting on LinkedIn, even just grabbing coffee with someone.
So it's still a people game, even in the tech world.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Building those relationships, that's what can really give you an edge.
It's something we're always talking about here, the power of connection.
And it's never going out of style.
Before we get too sentimental, though.
There's still so much to unpack.
Right. We're just scratching the surface here.
Anything else from the RoleCatcher materials that really stood out to you?
One thing that really stuck with me was their focus on, finding your niche.
Your specialty.
Yeah. And they emphasize how this field is branching out in so many different directions. It's not just this one-size-fits-all thing anymore.
So it's less about becoming an ICT system analyst and more about becoming,
The right ICT system analyst.
exactly. Finding your own little corner of the tech world.
It's like they say, jack of all trades, master of none.
But in this case, it's more like master of one, right?
Exactly. Become that go-to expert in something you're passionate about.
Because let's face it, technology's not slowing down anytime soon.
Not even a little bit.
All those trends we talked about earlier, cloud computing, data analytics, cybersecurity.
Each one's like a whole world unto itself.
And they all need people who really know their stuff.
With that specialized knowledge, those niche skills, that's how you stand out.
It's like choosing your own adventure, but instead of dragons and castles, it's firewalls and data streams.
I like that. So what's your quest going to be?
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where your interests and the demands of the tech world align.
And never being afraid to explore, to try new things.
It's all part of the journey.
Exactly. Every step you take, every skill you learn, it brings you closer to that perfect fit.
And who knows, maybe you'll even end up creating your own niche along the way.
Wouldn't that be something? To be a pioneer in a field that's constantly evolving.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? There's always something new to discover.
Always a new challenge to tackle. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of ICT system analysts, I want to leave you with this.
What's that?
Don't just follow the well-worn path. Forge your own. Become indispensable. Find that thing that makes you come alive.
Find your passion within the world of tech and run with it.
The future of technology, it's not just about lines of code, it's about people like you.
People with the curiosity, the drive, and the passion to shape the world we live in.
So go out there and make your mark, and as always,
Keep on to diving deep.